Yo, what's up, bro? If you're an online coach that either A has an email list that doesn't convert well, or B don't have an email list at all, like listen to what my guy Alex Hormozy has to say about emails.
You're not making at least 30% of your revenue from email, you're missing out.
Emails are stupid broken. Like the power of emails are insane, right? So I'm basically making this video on the 4-step process of how I actually get creators, or how I get leads and people on the email list for the creators I work with, and how I actually get those people to convert right. It's a 4-step process. It's super simple. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Derek. I work with 3 creators so far. 2 of them build a release, and one of them I helped him scale out his program. And I've planned over 40 different info programs for different creators. Like I'm gonna throw some screenshots up. But other than that, let's just get straight into the video. Like it's a super in-depth breakdown, so I don't know how long this will take, but at the end of this video, you'll definitely be making more money. Yo, shout out to you creators, bro. Like it took me like 15 tries to record that intro, but you see, this is pretty long, right? Super in depth. I actually made this when I was pitching a creator when I was on a sales call with them, right? So yeah, like this is literally just the exact same method I use. And yeah, like first things first, like to be able to even do this properly, like you have to understand your content, right? And the first thing about your content is you have to figure out your avatar, right? The point of your content is to like target your avatar, right? So imagine it like this, right? As a creator, imagine you're like in a grocery store, right? Like like your content, the content you put out is like you in a grocery store, right? Your content can either do 2 things, right? So imagine you go to the grocery store for toilet paper. If you go to the grocery store for toilet paper and you're like, and you see some paper towels are like, and they're good enough, that paper towel isn't going to function the same way as your toilet paper will. And that also goes for your audience, right? So if you're like an e-com creator or like a dropshipping creator, you need to be talking specifically about dropshipping in all your content. Your content should always revolve around dropshipping, something dropshipping related, or just an actual dropshipping topic, right? You shouldn't just be talking about like make money online and stuff like that, and just be like in the comments like, yo, like if you're a dropshipping creator, I mean like if you're looking to get into dropshipping, like I actually have something for you, right? You should be speaking about content. You should be speaking about what you coach the entire time in your content, basically, right? And the way I break down content is there's different types of content, right? There's content that lets you know. Well, first off, there's 2 different types of content. There's educational content and there's entertainment content, right? If you're a coach, you should be in the educational bucket. So if you're not making education content already, like that's already the first thing. But other than that, there's 2 different types of content. There's content that lets you know, and there's content that lets you understand, right? And I like to kind of think of these as like they're both super valuable and they're both needed, but like there's like imagine like Iman Gotchi, like you look at him, he's always talking about like Rolex, like always like mindset stuff, different types of things like that. He usually telling you about like the new best business model and stuff like that. And then Alex Hormozy's content that lets you understand like it's just like business. Like if you click on a video, it's business, right? So I broke these audiences into 2 different types, right? And I broke them into cops and robbers, right? Because you'll see why, right? So basically, the way the cop audience works, the cops are the people that let you know, right? If you create content that lets you know, your audience type is cops, right? And these people are looking for the truth. They're trying to figure out if something exists, if something actually possible, right? So actually, let me pop over here to the content stages of awareness, right? When you go on YouTube and you search up anything, there's going to be 2 buckets that something falls into, right? Besides, since we're already in the educational part, right? There's going to be kind of 2 different buckets. There's going to be something that lets you understand something or something that lets you know something, right? So if you create content that lets people know something, you have to take them from a state of knowing to believing, right? And you do that through like if you go back to Iman Ghazi, he does it perfectly, right? In his videos, like you see this is kind of old because I made this a while ago, right? Like you see Rolex, private jets, like black leather seats, right? You can assume that's an expensive car. Watches, it's like super visual. It's super like he has like a Range Rover back there, I'm pretty sure, right? Like it's super visual, and that's how you actually persuade this audience type to buy. They buy from what they see, and so you have to persuade them right through lifestyle and storytelling. So this the cop audience is kind of like edutainment, like because there's like I said, there's entertainment, educational content. The cop audience is kind of in the center, right? They kind of fall in the center, and when you're working with this audience, it's usually low ticket because, right? If we pop back over here, it's usually low to medium ticket because these people really don't have that much money because they're just now learning about business. So they either A, have like a job, or they B, they live with their parents still, right? Or like not that that's something bad, but like they probably live with their parents still, so they don't have that much money, or like their parents pay for everything. So these people are usually low to medium ticket just because they can't afford it, right? And when you're selling these people, you have to take them from a state of knowing something exists to believing it's actually possible, right? And for the robber side, right? Like, oh, I'm out of breath talking. Like, bro, content is a lot of work. Like, shout out to content creators, right? Like, shout out you guys for like putting out content every day. But this audience type, they don't care about you at all. Like, when I watch Alex Ramones, it's just like, yo, like, if you're not like, I don't even click on videos if like, unless it's something I want to know about, right? So for this audience type, if you make content that lets them understand something, so if you're like super in depth in your content, you have the robber audience type, and they don't care. They don't care about you at all. They just want to know if they can take your audience and use it for themselves, right? So robbers, they want to steal from you, steal your knowledge, and cops, they want to search for the truth, right? They have like a warrant and they're banging on your door. And the robbers, they buy from what they hear, so you have to outskill them, right? You can do this through case studies and pure results, right? Like, if we just look in here, how I manage 500 plus employees. As soon as you like click on that video, it's him talking about employees. Your onboarding sucks. This is literally a case study, right? And yeah, like a lot of this also goes into personal branding. So if you have like a super strong personal brand, like it does a lot of this for you. So definitely, like if you're a content creator, you usually have like you have a personal brand, so you should be straight. But these are basically the pros and cons of each audience. Not one's not better than the other. It's just like it's different continuums and different sides of the spectrum, right? So pros for the if you have a cop type audience is easy to convert once they believe because like like shiny object syndrome, like this is like yo, like they attach themselves to it and you're like yo, like this is my way out. Next month I'm gonna be a trillionaire. Like Elon Musk got nothing on me, and there's a lot of them, right? Because every day more and more people are getting into the online business space, right? Like I'm pretty sure like the online education as a whole is growing by like 46% each year, right? So it's literally like like multiplying like in like 2 times itself. I'm pretty sure something like that, right? My math's not even bad. I just don't feel like doing it. And then the cons are they're skeptical to buy for lack of belief and they have little to no money. Right? Skeptical to buy because of lack of belief. That's why in your content you have to show them, right? You have to show them that this is actually possible because that's why you have the watches and the cars because it shows them like yo, like if he's actually doing this like he say he is, I mean, if he's actually doing this like he say he is, and it can get him that stuff, it means it can get me this stuff. It can also get me that stuff, right? And then cons, little to no money. They just don't. They just haven't started making money yet. Usually, these people thinking. And also, another thing about here, another thing about this is if you have the cop type audience, it doesn't mean you have to charge like dirt prices, right? Because usually these people they don't think in terms of paychecks, but the way you price is by thinking in terms of paychecks, right? Like pricing something at $50 to $100, it doesn't make a difference since they have a $500 paycheck, right? They can still afford it. So when I do pricing for the cop type audience, I think in terms of paychecks, right? So it's like okay, if like I'm like a normal guy, like I'm like a high school student, I work part time or something like, what is my paycheck going to look like? And if what I'm hearing is valuable enough, how much would I be willing to spend on my paycheck, or would I be willing to spend my entire paycheck, right? And the reason thinking in terms of paychecks works so much is because you're able to use scarcity and urgency a lot better. Because if you think in terms of paychecks, right, like, okay, like let's say you have $30 left and you have a low ticket community for $30, right? These people might be thinking like, okay, I'll just buy it next week. Like I don't want to lose my last $30. I don't want to spend my last $30. When I get my paycheck next week, then I'll buy this program. And by then they already forgot about it and they're back in like like 3 a.m. motivation kicks in next week when they get their next paycheck and they don't do anything with it. And the reason why I'm thinking in terms of paychecks work so well is because when these people, when these people see something that's scarcity or urgency, like inducing, right? So like if you say like, oh, I'm only accepting 150 people into this program, right? Even if it's their last $30, since at the time they're going to be thinking like, yo, this is my last hope to like make it out the struggle. They're going to spend that. They're going to be more inclined to spend their last $30 than like if it was just if there's no sense of scarcity and urgency, right? So there's kind of like my info. That's like some info that's not on here about it. Like definitely want to include scarcity and urgency, stuff like that. And then thinking in terms of paychecks goes a long way when you're dealing with this audience because it really helps you figure out how to price properly. And then robbers, pros and cons of this audience is they know how it works already. Like they know what the mechanism in the vehicle you're selling works. And they have more money to spend on average because once you get to the point of knowing and understanding something, you're usually able to make some type of money or have some type of money coming in to be able to afford like higher ticket coaching, right? But the cons of this is it's hard to convert because it requires more value. So if you as a coach, the more skilled you are, you get paid more if you're on this side of the spectrum, right? So if you hit insane numbers, you're able to charge a lot more because of the social proof you have, right? But the cons is lower volume, right? Like just like I talked about in the other example, how they'll get like 3 a.m. motivation, they'll be ready to like sell their soul for money. Don't do that. It's not good. It's like those people next week they're not going to be at this stage, right? Because they didn't like stick with it. And yeah, that's basically the reason there's lower volume. And what knowing this does for you is it makes it easier for your team or you, if you're doing this on your own, to make you money because there's a clear ICP and avatar and there's clear ways to convert them, right? And it's basically shows what you need to do to establish a clear personal brand. And if you don't know what like your ICP or avatar is, it's basically like who you're selling to. And knowing your ICP will allow you to turn more of your audience into clients, right? And you'll see how in the next step, right? And the worst case scenario is right now you're not in one of these buckets or you're not doing one of these buckets like good, and your views drop temporarily from niching down your content. And by the way, a quick thing about niches, like I was recently the next creator I take on, I want to scale to 100K because like I said earlier in the intro, I've been doing build and release. I want to work with a creator and scale to 100K. So if you're interested in that, you can DM me on Instagram. Like my Instagram is going to be like down below. But I was on a call with a creator. He's currently doing 30 to 80K, and his niche. I'm not going to link his niche, but he's in a space that's super untapped. He's making 30 to 80K, like selling like semen extractors, right? Like to preface that he's like in an animal niche, but it's like, dude, like, you see what I'm saying? Like niches are insane, right? But this worst case scenario only applies if you're not in one of the buckets already. So if you want to, you can experiment to find out which one you want to mess with the most. But I really wouldn't do that, right? And yeah, if you're in the spot where you're currently not like in one of the buckets, like the solution to this problem, just keep posting and the views will balance itself out. And right, like Alex Hormozi said, like, if you can't tell, I'm kind of an Alex Hormozi fan. He was talking about how he was in his content strategy when it's like this. You can either be famous or you can be rich. Like you can do both, of course, but like in this space, it's kind of just like, do you want to be rich and get do you want to be rich or do you want to get a lot of views, right? So if you want to be rich, niching down just makes it a lot easier, and it just makes it super easy for the algorithm, like targeting and put you in the spot of the people who want to see you, right? But I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything real quick. Also, if you want this doc, like you can just DM me on Instagram and be like, yo, like send me the doc and I'll send it over. Like it's whatever. I made this like a while ago. Okay. Next step is how do you actually engage your audience? Now that you know what type of audience you have, your avatar, this is where the actual email list part comes in, right? So what you're going to be doing is creating a lead magnet. And first things first, to create a lead magnet, you want to do market research. This is a screenshot from when I was helping one of the 3 creators scale out their program, right? And how you create a market research and how you do anything in this space is you look at data. If you're not tracking your data, you're cooking yourself. I'm telling you, if you look at your data, you're gonna be like, yo, like there's such an obvious fix in front of me, and once you fix it, you're gonna be like another 15K that month. You're gonna be like, yo, like what was I doing before? Anyways, first step, the market research, look at data, see what your audience wants, and the goal of this is to just find out where there's a hole in your audience's understanding and fill it. And you basically just do that by solving a problem for your audience is facing, right? You look at a problem that majority of your audience is having. My bad, I should probably slow down when I speak. look at a problem majority of your audience is having, and you just feel it. You just give them how, you just teach them how to do it, right? And the purpose of creating a lead magnet is it gives your audience a quick win. It gets them to the next obstacle that your offer / program solves, right? And this basically like this basically is like also it's kind of just in the Bible too, and it's also just like a persuasion thing. It's like we love him because he first loved us, right? The lead magnet makes them prone to reciprocity. I can't really say the word like overbite, but that's basically how it works. Is you give them something, they're like, wow, this guy really helped me out. And especially if you make your lead magnet actually valuable and you help them out, the amount of people who are gonna convert just from that alone, it's gonna be insane, right? An example of this is Simple Guide to Optimizing Backend Revenue, right? And what this does for you is engage an ICP with low risk offer, right? Because all they have to do is put in their information, because that's the whole point of the lead magnet, is collect their information. This is where you actually get their email, their name, phone number, stuff like that. And it gets more of your ICP to engage and eventually buy since you're providing them with value, right? Another, like, once again, reciprocity. And gives us their contact info and associates us with a positive change in their life. Like this part right here, this part right here is huge. Associate us with a positive change in their life. Basically, your entire thought process is associations. And if they can associate us with something positive, they're just going to think of us in a good light. And if you think of somebody, people buy from people they like, trust, and know. And if they're gonna trust you after this, and they already know you, right? So after you help them out, they're gonna like you even more than they already do, and they're gonna be a lot more prone to give you money, right? And this also gives a quick win. The quick win is better funnel. Now, next obstacle step would be getting more traffic for the new optimized funnel. I don't know why I put that there at the time, but I just thought I should read it just in case. These upsides only happen if your lead magnet provides genuine value, so make it good. Already said that. And here's just another example, right? Like this is like I said earlier, I'm not bad at math. I'm actually pretty good at math, and this is kind of just how the numbers look, right? So engage your leads, why lead magnet, right? Place 25 with your average viewers, right? So if let's say average 2,500 viewers, then you multiply by 4% to get how many people would take the core offer alone, right? So example, if you average 2,500 viewers, about 100 people will take it alone. Like if this was like a perfect world and like 4% conversion rate, stuff like that, right? 100 people buy $50 add-on at $5,000. I use low ticket for this example because like 100 people aren't really buying high ticket offers. And it's a lot more manageable, right? Because number would have been a lot bigger. And then imagine it with a lead magnet plus your core offer, right? 300 out of 2,500 people will buy with the lead magnet, and 300 times 50 is $15,000. And over here, you're making $5,000, right? So by giving away something free, you can literally double, triple, quadruple how much you're already making in. Oh yeah, also by the way, this is another thing for the add-on from what this does for you is if your audience type is cops, if you have like a cop type audience, lead magnet also gives them a new identity that they feel associated with, right? So example, non-smokers don't smoke, meaning people only do what they think is associated with themselves, right? So plug in smoking with what you teach, right? So non-dropshippers don't dropship, like non-bodybuilders don't build their body, right? And what the lead magnet allows them to do is it allows them to go from someone who's an outsider to an insider, which then unlocks the ability for them to buy from you, right? So someone who hasn't smoked to someone who has smoked, right? Like if you're not a smoker, you're not going to go inside the store and buy a pack of cigarettes, right? Like it doesn't make sense because that's not who you are. But once you smoke for the first time, like, oh, okay, maybe I can get behind this, right? Like you might go into the store, you might buy like a single cigarette for the first time, then you might start buying packs, right? But that's basically what the lead magnet does. The lead magnet acts as the first cigarette they try with their buddy out at the bar, and that's how they can actually get introduced to it, and then they become somebody who's actually able to reason with buying it, right? And yeah, it's basically unlocks the ability from the buy since they now are associated and doing this, and them doing this is actually like a real option, right? So people who don't smoke won't buy cigarettes, right? Trigger cigarettes being your offer. Worst case scenario is no one signs up for a lead magnet. This is literally like almost impossible. Like unless you're like, I don't even know what you have to do. Like people just like free stuff. And the solution is if the amount of opt-ins you get are low, it just means either your bad market research, one of your systems broke, or you're offering in the wrong spot, right? Or maybe the video is just like didn't do that well. But if you get zero opt-ins or like a low amount of opt-ins, you usually just have to test a little bit and just keep on running it. And if it still persists, it's usually that's a bad lead magnet. So you just restart the market research. All right. Next thing is 20 minutes. This video is getting kind of long, but this is basically how to get your audience to buy, right? This is the actual nurture system that goes into it, and this is how you get them to buy. And the goal of this is to introduce them to the next step to take and just show you have a program basically and get them to actually buy it, right? So you do this by contacting them with the info you got in the last step and give more value, right? Show them a way they can keep getting this value through your program, right? And at this point in the process, they know we want their money. So we have to show that the carrot, the program, right, that we're selling is better than the stick of them losing money, right? So like Minecraft, you can like sit on the pig and like dangle the stick with the carrot in front of it. You have to show them like, yo, like this carrot is a real carrot. It's not like made out of wood, plastic, or anything. And we're at this stage. You do that by continuing to offer more value, right? And like it's kind of just basic human nature to be like assume everyone's selfish, which most people are. It's just like, yo, like if he's giving me more stuff, that means there's some more stuff that I don't like that he knows that I don't know. And yeah, the reason we do this is because it's natural human assumption is like, yo, okay, like if he gives me $10, yo, he has more than $10. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, like some examples of this is just like through emails once again, since this is where we're focused on. It's like this is how you show people that you have another program, right? I'm like, hey, it's like you just give them like little call to actions, and the way you actually get them to take the next step is by knowing your audience, man. Like the biggest step of this, that's why I'm focused so much on. That's why I talked about the little content spiel at the beginning, and I told you to start off with market research. Like know your audience and market research, because if you know this, you can literally sell anything. Like if you know a grandma is scared of tripping and falling down the stairs because her shoe is like slightly too loose, if you offer her something that's going to make her shoe feel tighter, she's 100% going to buy from you because you know exactly what she wants. And it's the same exact way. And the way you know your audience, the reason you want to do this is because this way you can speak to their pain points, hopes, problems, tell stories they relate to, etc. And that will persuade them to buy and take action, right? So some examples of this is these. I don't really feel like reading, to be honest. Like you read these yourself. Like, bro, like content is hard work, bro. Like shout out your content creation, man. And basically what this one is just basically storytelling, and this one's speaking to hopes and desires. And reason nurture systems are important is because let me give you like an actual example. I don't know why camera is like that, but my mentor, he's a really big guy in the space. He's probably one of the biggest guys in the space, and well, on YouTube at least. And he launched a creators program, and he did $0 the first month of sales, like almost $0. And when he added a nurture system, the very next week he did 50K. He went from zero. He literally like 50 exits and like how much they made. And properly nurturing your prospects is literally the only thing you can do that will boost the effectiveness of the entire system. It just makes everything work so much better because they have more trust, you have more authority, and they just like you a lot more. So that's why like it's like if you probably heard it's like jab 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 right hook. You just basically just keep on giving them what they want. You just kind of force feed them, and then eventually like, hey, like can I get something too? And it's just like, yeah, of course, man. Like I'm feeling great. They're in a great mood. Like you didn't give them all the game, all the sauce. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to have a smaller team and keep more money for yourself, since like their nurture system, a lot of this stuff is going to be like automated, since you're going to be running it through emails. So you have less cost associated with it. It builds a lot of trust because you're giving away a lot of stuff for free. It makes them want you and ready to buy, right? Because once I said reciprocity, I can't really say that word. Then it makes it massively scalable because you no longer have a manpower constraint. Man, if you do this through appointment setting and you run a nurture system through appointment setting, it still works. It's just you need more people to do it, which takes away more money from you, right? So that's why I like this way better. And plus, with this way, you know everything's happening the same way because you're kind of the one who like pulls the levers, right? In the worst case scenario, no one applies for the next step for your program. And what this basically means was your lead nurture wasn't effective, so you weren't speaking to the pain points, hopes, and desires of your audience. Or it could also just mean that your system broke. But it's usually the first part, which means you don't know your audience well enough. So that means you either need to do more market research or you just need to like actually just hop on calls and talk to your audience. Just be like, yo, like, what do you guys want? Like that fixes the majority of the like issues, right? And how you fix the first part where you weren't speaking to your audience's pain points, it can be fixed by split testing different angles, hooks, call outs, etc. Just tweak the lead nurture until something works, and then 80-20 split test from there. Well, 80% of the list gets the thing that's already working, and 20% of the list gets something new or something that like kind of builds on the idea or like the hypothesis you have. Running like most of the testing stuff is literally just a scientific method. So here's that. All right, next step is what they're buying, right? So there's two different types of steps with this. There's testing phase for warm audience, but eventually your organic reach is gonna like slow down, and then this is where you go mass market. You start running ads and getting cold traffic, or you start running like ads, like retargeting ads for people who already watch you, right? So if you don't have any results yet, which is like doesn't really make sense, right? You can run a cohort method, 10 to 15 spots, high ticket one-to-one mentorship, and use this to find out activation points for the people for when you start scaling and expanding the program to allow more people to join. If you don't know your activation points, like you need to figure that out like ASAP because it makes it so much easier because you can just streamline the entire process. And if you're at this step, when you do the cohort method, you want to do this like 2 to 3 times. And it is high ticket because it's one-to-one. So you'll be making like decent money for you'll be making like 3 to 4K like per person. So like if you do 15 people at 3K, that's like 45. So that's not that bad. And yeah, that's basically the whole point of the cohort. But most of the people watching this should already have some type of results. But after getting results and you know your activation points, this is where you start scaling. You start testing webinars with your warm audience and free traffic. There are a dozen ways you can scale your program, but I chose webinars because I was talking to one guy, right? He's an insane media buyer. He's telling me about how he's ran webinars for some of the people he's done. He ran webinar ads for some coaches, and they do multiple 6-figure profit month from it. And when I heard that, I started drooling. Not to mention that my mentor actually scaled two out of his 4 creators to 100K per month through webinars. So I was like, yo, like webinars are it. I'm pretty sure my mentor had like 3 people doing 100K per month. Now I don't even know if he works with the 4th guy still, but yeah, they print money for 3 reasons, right? And this is the main 3 reasons I'm focused on webinars. One, it allows for one of many pitch from the creator yourself. And if you know they like you, the whole reason they're here is because of you. They like your content, right? So you doing that and with the authority already built out through all the lead nurture, your pitch is gonna convert better just because the message is coming from, they like more. And then once again, the entire webinar is focused on providing value. When they hop on the webinar, it should not just be you pitching. You should be giving even more value, explaining the process even more in depth, and just kind of helping them answering questions. It should just be like a walkthrough of like it should kind of be like an appetite wetter to the program, right? It's like tease them a little bit. And then 3, act like another lead magnet because it's free. Like once again, this like if we go over here to this example, this is actually somebody pitching a webinar, right? So use your thumb up to click this and go save your spot route. Now join us here tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST. Like this is a webinar. Like I'm pretty sure the webinar had like at peak like 800 to 900 people on it, and he made like 17K from the webinar, like 16-17K from the webinar. So if you haven't made 16 to 17K in a day yet, hey man, webinars. But yeah, what this does for you, the cohort method, right? Like I'm not gonna go over this because most of you guys here should have some results. If not, go do the cohort method. If you need help with that, send me a DM. I'll just give you the framework for free. Like it's not that difficult. It takes like 5 days, and then not even 5. It takes like 3 days really if you really want to like grind it out. But the webinar, it's genuinely just a money printer. Where like webinars are insane, and then decreasing the amount of team members you'll need once again because you don't have to run like a book a call funnel. You don't have to have a bunch of like setters, closers, stuff like that. And only reason you'll really need like sales reps is if you're running a back end, like an upsell in the back end, which I suggest you do to like a 1-to-1 spot. And what webinars are really useful for is if you already have some type of done, pre-made, like not done with you, but like already like video courses, basically. I forgot the word for some reason, but yeah. And more people will just opt in for a webinar instead of just buying outright or booking a sales call. So the absolute amount of people you'll be able to pitch increases. The absolute amount of people you pitch increases, and the effectiveness of the pitch increase because it's coming from the creator, right? Like once I said, it's kind of just like to some extent, it's a numbers game because all this kind of stuff is mathematically based, right? Like if you have a 5% conversion rate and you have 100 people, like 5% convert, but if you have a 5% conversion rate with 1,000 people, then 50 people convert, right? So it's really kind of a numbers game, but it's also a skill check. So yeah. And then the entire time you're giving value right before the pitch, which leads to a higher close rate. And if you're priced properly, like your webinar should always make at least 15K. So if you run webinars and you don't make at least 15K, then hey, you need to up your prices. Either that or you had a bad pitch, right? Worst case scenario, no one closes. If they're this deep in the funnel, no one closes. It's kind of like a 0% chance, but if that happens, then something you did was extremely off. Either your pitch was wrong, what you're going over in the webinar was wrong, your lead nurture was wrong. But basically, if no one closes, that means what you offered them was completely different from what they expected, right? So that means you have to look at the pitch and look at what you've done so far. And if people show up to the webinar and no one closes, then that means there's something wrong with the scripting and the pitch of the webinar. And yeah. A simple solution to this is just ask why they didn't buy. Like if they're that deep in the funnel, they're invested into it, and you're obviously looking to buy. So there's something you did wrong. And the best way you can do this is just hit them up afterwards since you already have their info, and like the people who sign up for the webinar get their info again. And it's like, yo, can I do you want to hop on a call? I just want to talk to you. Just hit them up and be like, yo, like, why didn't you buy? And I'm telling you that solves 90% of the problems, right? Oh yeah, this is the guy from earlier. I showed you the DMs from. And yeah, a little glazed for me, but all right. Next part of this is the pre-scale, right? This is when you get the mass market / cold traffic. And after maxing out your organic reach, you start running ads to the webinar. Like this is what majority, like when you see those YouTube ads, those are people who are running ads to webinars to close and to pitch them, right? And once you get this far and you max out your organic reach, your system should be dialed. Everything should run itself at this point. Webinars medium ticket with 4 to 5K upsell on the back end one-to-one mentorship. And that's why the nurture system is so important, because this is a step that lets you do multiple 6 figures. And a cold audience won't buy, so you have to warm them up through nurture. That's why the nurture system is not broken, but that's why you need a nurture system. So when you scale out in the future, right? And what this does for you essentially is, since everything runs itself at this point, like you're basically just printing money. Like you hop on a call like once per week or once every 2 weeks, and you make like a free 15K. Or when you get to this part, you're making like a free like 20, 25, 30K. And then some of those people are going to upsell for 4 to 5K. So that's like 40, like 45, 50 plus from each webinar, like kind of just depending on how good the ads are and stuff like that and what you're selling. And yeah, you're literally it's just a money printer at this point. And worst case scenario, the ads don't work. The ads work. It's just the ads aren't good, and all ads work. It just takes some time, takes some testing. And if you're still running the webinar for a free audience, you'll have plenty of money to throw in the ads, which will help you generate more leads, which makes you more money, right? And the solution is if you're a leader, if your ads are converting, getting people to actually hop on the call, but they don't close, then that either A means your script to the webinar wasn't good enough, or your lead nurture needs to be better, right? And yeah, more reach outs, more content, better content, right? And to make sure the people who funnel through the ads have their own special nurture system, so the warm audience doesn't feel overwhelmed and end up not buying, right? This is kind of like a system thing where the people who come from the ads, they get funneled into a different email nurture system, completely like different. Those people are getting like emails every single day with like super in-depth like videos, stuff like that, like full-on breakdown. And then where your audience is kind of just like more just like talking to personal stuff, right? So yeah. And then this video is 33 minutes, man. Oh wow, my throat's starting to hurt and everything. But after this is the back end. When you're this is kind of just like back end stuff, the metrics you need to like be looking for, the KPIs. And when you get to this part, you just want to optimize back end to front end, and you need to optimize from back to front because this allows you to make the most of your leads and this allows you to make the most out of your leads, right? Like you don't want to waste your leads because leads are not hard to come by, but there's no point of wasting someone who could buy from you when you don't have to, right? And what this will allow you to do is allow you to test with people, allow you to test different things to get more people to convert. And since the front end is going to be like kind of shut off, and like if only people who filter through to the back end, those are going to be the people who are already the warmest, and those are going to be the people who are already the warmest. So when you test with them, there's still a pretty good likelihood that they'll buy. And when you're selling to people who are ready to sell, you can think about, it helps you figure out your like ideal avatar even more, especially with cold traffic, right? So that's why I want to do that. And these are just basically what the YAP session was for, is allows for the low stakes testing and improvement, right? Because you don't want to lose all your money through testing. And yeah, these are basically the KPIs, right? Lead magnet opt-in, for the KPI for lead magnet opt-in rate, for the nurture systems open rate and click-through rates, and then 80-20 split test to see what converts the highest for the nurture system. Webinar sign-up page, and we're going to be looking at opt-in rates. Webinar show-up rate, viewer retention, close rate, cash collected, and units sold. Ads, you're going to be looking at opt-ins and ROAS. And then for your one-to-one mentorship, which is the upsell you're selling on the back, show rate, offer rate, close rate, and then percent of cash collected. And then the program itself, you want to look at the satisfaction of the people who actually buy it and how many people get the end result and how long it takes, right? And then after that, you just kind of just want to ask them like, hey, what's wrong? What can I do better? This way you can keep the program improving. This way, like, you don't, like, you can keep doing this for a while and make a whole lot of money, right? And yeah, it's for when I was doing outreach, like I said earlier. But yeah, if you want access to this doc, send me a DM. If you need more help understanding this, like, yo, just send me a DM. And yeah, this is basically how I get more people interested in your stuff, how you get more people to buy. And you do that. This is how you do it specifically through emails. If you have any content you want to see, like, just let me know. I'll probably drop some more content soon because I have like some more Miro boards I kind of just want to like throw out into the ocean. And yeah, bro, I hope you got some value from this video. And please don't like spend your time watching this like 40-minute video and do nothing about it. Please take this and go make some more money. Like, if you don't know how, please just hit me up. I'll help you out, bro. Like, just pay for my lunch or something. Like, just give me a sandwich. And yeah, bro, like, I'll see you in the next video.